Something that Jerry did say that I thought was really interesting. I don't have the quotes in front of me, but I saw some Trevon Diggs stuff that felt like a bit of a brushback from the front office for the first time. Would you like to fill my friends in here on what happened? What's developing there?
Yeah, so day three is a day where it is a grind because a lot of the top players, not named Shador Sanders, are pretty much gone. So there's not a lot of really big name guys. And when you're covering the team, it's basically one conference call after another with the player that they take. And then you get Jerry, Steven, Will McClay, and Brian Schottenheimer at the end. And so you're really in the feel of, hey, let's knock out this press conference, write something, get out of here, get something to eat. Like we're good. It's Saturday, you know? And that press conference normally goes about 25, 30 minutes. Well, we're at like, it ended up going 45, but at about the 40-minute mark, that's where it was like, okay, ask a bunch of questions of just some cleanup on some things just to kind of find out, hey, what's the latest with Sam Williams? What's the latest with Trayvon Diggs, DeMarvion Overshown, the guys that have been dealing with injuries. And so when Jerry was asked about Diggs, nobody was asking for this like complete breakdown, but I'm glad you brought that up because out of the entire 45-minute press conference, it to me was the most interesting thing. And it came way at the end, like something that you're not expecting. But Jerry felt like that was his time to share something about it. And so basically what he was saying is that when Trayvon hurt his knee previously, that he didn't rehab correctly on the way back. And so that possibly led to what injury he has now because I don't have to read in between the lines. I mean, I have the quote right here because I had it. I didn't want to tweet just like a sentence from it. I was like, I'll wait until this thing's over and I'll just tweet the whole quote because I thought it was pretty interesting because there's a lot of Jerry E's in this, but if you just read in between the lines, he's pretty much telling you that he didn't do the right things the last time he hurt his knee. So he said, we have a good idea with him. He's working hard. That's very important because if he will be very good and diligent in his rehab process, then he'll get back quicker. And when he does get back, he'll be sounder. If he has not worked as hard, he is more subject to injury. He's learned that one time. I have a lot of hope that his actual rehab and experience from that time before is really helping him out. I think it is. So I don't know how much you guys had heard of this or seen on social media, but there was a lot of talk last year about how Trayvon Diggs, like the team wasn't happy with the way he rehabbed and things like that. And so Jerry just put it out there. You know, there was no, it's kind of like another comp to that for me this offseason is a lot of speculation on, yeah, it's the media and it's the fans and all these, people on the outside, they're saying that Micah needs to be more of a leader. No, Jerry just came out and said, if I'm going to give him this money, he needs to be more of a leader. He hasn't been enough of a leader yet, And so that's the one thing about Jerry. You got to get through a lot of the, like you mentioned earlier on the Jonathan Mingo thing, where you're like, you just knew that he was going to say something about that with the fourth round. So if you can just put that to the side and if you can stay focused through it, there are some nuggets that he'll plant in there where you're like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. I didn't think that you'd come out and say that tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what the third rounder's health status will be, but I wonder if Diggs isn't a trade candidate.
Yeah, it's tough to say just because I don't think that they're super deep at corner. And
Yeah.
so I think that they're going to want to give him every opportunity. But it is funny that when you bring that up, it also makes me think of after day one, we did a little walk off with Jerry. And I can't remember what the exact question was. You know what it was? It was about Tyler Smith and giving him he's in line for a new contract. They just put the 5th-year option on him. And Jerry was talking about how hey, sometimes it's better to wait on some of these contracts because you get to see a little bit more that plays out and things that happen and stuff. And so, I tweet out that quote. Of course, you get people respond and saying things like, well, what other players didn't work out with? He's waited too long on all these contracts. And so the people that he didn't say this, but I know what he's talking about. He's talking about Zeke. He's talking about Jalen Smith and Lyle Collins and Michael Gallup. And there was a part of me when he said it, I'm like, he could be talking about Diggs too. I mean, as soon as they gave him the contract since then, it hasn't been the same as what they had before. Injuries have obviously been a big part of it, but that's the only, I think they want to see how he recovers from this. And then maybe you make a decision after that. But I think the 3rd round pick, Savon Ravel, Dr. Cooper, who's one of their team doctors, did the surgery on Ravel. So they have a lot of the information there that made them feel comfortable. He'll start training camp limited. He'll be on the PUP list. And then they plan on bringing him off of that during training camp at some point. But they think he'll be ready for week 1. And as long as that's the case, then I think he's a starter with Kyrie Elam and Deron Bland. And you're in a pretty good spot there. And if you can get Diggs back by week 5 or 6, something like that, then your room is probably in decent shape.
That's interesting, their perspective on once I pay you, I need you to then be more than you are now. Because I remember them doing this with Dez. I remember them doing it. They even tried to tell us how Zeke was becoming a leader after he got paid. And I think some guys just are. Like, you are just natural leaders.